All right, we're here.
So arrogant.
It's here. It's the galaxies. It's the state of it, amongst other things. We're following the amazing programming of Settle It on the screen. Hopefully lots of things got settled on the screen and not in bar fights.
We tried, man. I don't know how you submit a virtual boy score. I don't know how to provide enough evidence for the community.
All right, listen to me. When you say you don't know how to provide a virtual boy score, you're just you're just exposing your noobitry, and that's okay.
All right, I want to see how you do it.
It's possible. I know how you do it.
Listen, what you do is you build an enormous contraption that you can plug into the virtual boy so you can record video simultaneously while showing your actual physical body in a small window, so we can see that it's your performance and it's your screen, that we're seeing everything and it's not overlaid in. You spend about $10,000 developing that system so that you and 10 other people can submit scores on Virtual Boy. Okay? Settled. Right. See how easy that was?
The only thing that's maybe factually incorrect is that you could get 10 other people to want to play this.
Well, you know, there is that extra port that a cable was never made for.
I know, it sucks, man. I bought it with hope. Another buddy of mine bought another one with hopes that they would release it, and then they just never released.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. The rumor was that so you could connect two Virtual Boys, but really what it was advanced thinking about having a video out for the Twin Galaxies adjudication system so that you could just plug in a computer and record the Virtual Boy. That's what it was for.
I buy that. I buy
but
that.
It's just a special cable that you need to have
Hello,
created.
Jace.
Well, hello. All right, so
10 years ago.
it's hard to believe that 2 weeks has gone by since I did this last. It feels like I just did this yesterday. That's how fast time moves over here for me. I see in the chat, I see Mitten Kitten, who you will know as Franny, and Supernautics. I see Tech 420, Dan Man, Mark, Amy Bailey, or is it Marcami Bailey? Marcami? Bara?
That's Mark Cohen.
Bara? We've got people.
We got people.
There's stuff and things. All right. So some questions
Chester.
were set. Look, the hard part about this is there are so many things that I'm working on for Twin Galaxies, and I can't talk about them yet because they're big. But they're big and they're cool, and they just kill me. But okay, one thing I can talk about though is the Guinness stuff. So I'm talking to Guinness quite a bit, and they're getting ready to put their 2016 book together. So they've asked us to provide them with scores. I think what's a little bit different this time is previously Twin Galaxies only sent in sort of some select scores, and now they're asking for all of the #1 scores across all of the platforms, which is interesting. But really, you know, yes, while they can list scores, their primary function is to do editorial around those scores. And so I suspect that they're going to be looking at a number of record holders to talk to or feature or talk about or give their story or that sort of thing. So that's exciting. And Guinness is sort of coming to the realization that the Twin Galaxies system is pretty darn nifty. And so you're going to see more and more Guinness Twin Galaxy efforts as you move forward into the future. So continue to participate in the board, continue to participate, submitting scores and adjudicating, and get in on the mobile stuff. We started adding iOS and Android stuff just to sort of give it a start. Really what's going to take that over is the community ad track function, which essentially is getting all of the resources right now to get that online and functioning as quickly as possible. And that's getting most of the engineering time. So other things are sort of back behind that. Why are Android and iOS separated? Don Atreides asks. Because they're different platforms. And while they might be the same game, it would be very, very difficult to determine if they play exactly the same on those two different platforms. So we'll see over time. This is sort of a newer effort, by far the most serious effort at adjudicating mobile phone games when you look out on the internet and see what other places are trying to look at mobile records. This is the TGSAP is way more robust at examining these things. And honestly, I gotta be honest, watching mobile games like record attempts is pretty it's kind of fun to watch them because they're kind of small and you see their these big hands trying to do these delicate things. I don't know. Okay, so let's move on. So Guinness stuff, yes. Let me get to some of these questions and then get to the end here. Will Twin Galaxies allow the community to submit on the newest versions of WolfMAME? And if so, how will this affect the current MAME database, since new versions of WolfMAME will continue to be introduced and will have an impact on any new MAME tracks that are created? This is a big question because MAME, in particular for arcade, I think is just going to continue to grow in prominence as these arcade machines get older and older and get harder and harder to get your hands on them. So I think where we're going to land at is we're going to open up the WolfMAME versions from 106 up and then make a field in our database that specifies what version the game was played on, but we're going to keep all the scores together on the track and not separate by MAME version. So you'll be able to see what version that was used, and you can, if you think for whatever reason 158 is better than 159, you can use 158, and then you can do that. So it'll be an even field that way, but after listening to some of the things that are said on the site, after really thinking through it, I think it makes sense to allow as many games as possible to be competed on, and the adjudication process now is so. I mean, I'm very impressed with the community. I'm very impressed with how it looks at things coming into it, and I think it's more than capable of dealing with subtleties that might exist between these different versions on specific tracks or for specific records. I am confident that it will filter successfully there. Whereas in the past, when you had a single referee, I can see how having all these different versions could potentially be unwieldy and hard to judge, but I don't think that problem exists anymore in the same way. So the reason that we haven't implemented it yet is because we're sort of backlogged in working on the community ad track. But after we get through the community ad track stuff and make sure that's stable, we'll work on the MAME stuff. That should be pretty quick. But until that time, don't submit anything but 106. Because there's no way to categorize yet, so just don't do it, and there's not going to be looking back and trying to recategorize. Not happening. We don't know all of the versions that were used previously, so it's whatever Twin Galaxies took before is what it is. We'll have to indicate that somehow in the database, but I think it'll be more exciting for MAME competition to just open it up and let more games be played. on more platforms. All right, so let me see what's going on here. Shigeru Miyamoto is with us, and he said he hasn't logged onto TG for several years. Is the forum still there with the same usernames, or is it all completely new? No, the forum is still there with the same usernames. If, in fact, well, Mr. Miyamoto. So, yeah, it's still all the same. You'll have to reset your password if you had a previous password. Okay, so does everybody in the chat understand the MAME issue? Is that everybody get it? Did I answer that question? I hope so. Now I'm going to move on. Here we go. Is it possible to have platform-specific subforums where the community appoints a moderator who they feel are experts in these areas to handle platform-specific subject matter that current TG staff may or may not be as knowledgeable in? This is an easy question. No. We're getting away from special anointed people with special treatment. There's people who are on the payroll at Twin Galaxies who are there to facilitate, but they can't participate. And then there's everybody who's participating. Now, part of this question is rooted in a little bit of impatience because you've got to allow thousands and thousands of adjudications to take place, and for people's credibility and status and track record within the system to take hold and start to separate. It's through this system that you're going to get experts. And it's not that the community feels they're an expert. The community may feel that there's an expert, but there's an actual logged track record of this person's ability to identify and distinguish things in games on platforms and all of that. Those people will gain more and more power and authority in the system as Twin Galaxies adds more and more features and functionality. This is why I keep trying to say, participate, be accurate, pay attention, do not think in the short term, do not try to, like, this system is built to last, and it's got to contemplate things like on geologic time, not ant time. So I agree that a need, what this question is asking for is talking about a particular need, but that need has to be serviced through the organic evolution of participants. So, and it will be, but just patience, and it will take time. And everybody who is in that kind of position will have put in the work, who will have deserve to be making these comments or these decisions or participating in the way that they do with the weight that they carry. So I hope that made sense. I'm looking at the chat. Okay. Let us move forward on to the next question. If anybody wants to Skype in and ask me questions directly here, you can do it. That's fine. And keep going. Why should I trust any scores or times on the leaderboard when no proof exists? Okay. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here, okay? Open up the Guinness Book of World Records. Pick a record. It says the guy or gal who ate the most hamburgers in 10 seconds. There's the record. Now, in theory, a Guinness referee looked at that event, said that it was valid, and then added it to their database. So you either trust Guinness to have done that, or you don't. You're not going to see any proof outside of that if there was no video of the event or anything else. So, Twin Galaxies is in that same position for its historical database. The scores that came in were put in there by, at the time, trusted Twin Galaxies staff. they're in the business of trying to have the best database possible, so you need to trust and start with that when that score went in there, it went in there with the best of intentions and whatever proof at the time that that administration needed for it to go in. So on a certain level, you either are going to trust that process or you aren't. Are there probably scores in the database that may be questionable? Probably, but we're building a system that will allow the user base to address those on a very specific case-by-case basis. So what you need to trust is that the administration today and that the systems that are being put in place today are A, obviously very interested in accuracy, and B, will slowly, over the course of time, we will all collectively scrub through everything and make sure that what's there is there. And just because, and the big thing I got to put at people who are just saying, well, there's a score in the database, it seems impossible, and there's no proof, and I can't find anything, there's no way I can do it, so therefore it has to be false. Obviously, that's not proof of a score that needs to come out of the database. If I went back in time with a jet, I went back 2,000 years and I flew from one place to the other and back in the same day, everybody would say, well, there's no way you could have been in Rome and then back over here in Egypt in the same day. That's just impossible. So clearly you're lying. No, actually it is possible. You just don't know how it was done. So you want to always consider that. And Twin Galaxies as a destination in general is supposed to attract the achievers who can do things that, like, that's the point. You're going to go there and see things. Damn, how did he do that? I mean, anyway, it's a personal decision you need to make. All I can tell you is it's the most trusted database in the world for video game scores out of the databases. So, and it's the largest. So trust in that and trust that we're all working together to improve it and make it as credible as possible. And that's it. Don Atreides, how is the refutation system going to work? Okay. I can give you the broad strokes. The broad strokes is it will work similarly to the adjudication system now, with the exception that the removal of a score is going to be manual always. It will never be automated. There will be a human being, a Twin Galaxies staff member. If it makes it through the whole process, there's evidence and everybody's like, this is clear, and look, I've dissected this cartridge and I know that there's 4K ROMs on it, so it couldn't possibly, all that evidence gets all stacked up, and eventually what will happen is the community itself will say, we think that this should come out, here's the evidence, and then that goes to a actual Twin Galaxies staff member who has to make a determination whether or not that is going to be enough to remove it. It's not going to be easy to get a score out. It's because it's easy to raise questions after the fact at things that can't defend itself. That part's easy. So there has to be a gate on the other side that makes it not easy to just eradicate and rewrite history and all these other sorts of things. So, but hopefully, so far, the behavior you've seen Twin Galaxies through this administration do, you should feel comfortable that we want accuracy and that we are going to look at things logically and dispassionately. Personally, I don't have a horse in the game on any one particular score or anything. I'm interested in accuracy. If what's being presented is not compelling enough to take the score out, the answer is no. It has to be clearly compelling. Otherwise, go and do your homework. And if you go, well, what if you just can't find out? Well, too bad. Beat the score then. Make it number 2. That's life. All right. Moving forward. For games on iOS, are we allowed to mirror the iOS device to an Apple TV and film it in that way? Yes, you can do that if you want to. Remember, this is your evidence package. I don't know if the adjudicators will consider that as enough because we can't see your hands doing it. So it raises a question of, what are we watching here? Are we really watching you do the performance? Are we watching someone else do the performance? It's when we don't see your hands doing it on the actual device, like, you see someone playing a Game Boy, you see it. Doesn't mean you didn't do it. I'm just simply saying adjudicators might go, So it's up to you if you want to do that. I certainly think you'd get a great image doing it that way, But you make the choice as to whether or not you feel that that's going to be compelling enough for your score claim. Let's see. I'm looking at the chat. Glenn, are you in Skype? If he is, he's not saying anything. I don't hear anything. All right, let's move on. If we want to attach evidence to old submissions, the only way to do that will be the normal submission process. There is no way to attach evidence to an old submission other than if that submission is still in adjudication. Once it is not in adjudication anymore, it's closed. That's the end of it. You need to totally resubmit. Remember, the goal here is to make things unalterable, and to prevent cheating or misrepresenting things and so forth and so on. By sealing it off, once you submit it, that's it. That's it. So I understand the inconvenience of certain aspects of that, but it's for the betterment of all that you cannot just do those sorts of things. All right? So Jace mentioned the possibility of a final emulation solution in a post. I was under the impression that a TG MAME was no longer happening. Can you tell us what your current thinking is on this? And maybe give us MAMers an idea of what's in store for the future. It's certainly happening. It's being engineered, and there's a lot to it. And the idea is just make it easy. Make it easy to load up. To load up a ROM or a specific emulator, do it in a context that is secure, interface to the database, and accounts. So everything's easy, fast, easy, and simple. And that's the goal. Goal is ease of use. So that Barthax doesn't have to continue to write complex DOS scripts for loading for everybody, stuff like that. And we see MAME as a real growth area in general for arcade gaming. And we want to do sort of special events, bountied events around arcade play, and MAME lends itself to do that. So everybody can participate in that sort of thing. So there's a lot of thinking going on over here in regards to MAME and speed runs and all this stuff with the goal of sort of bringing the whole community together so we all can have a stake in this. So this is so much work, so little time. That's why time just goes by so fast for me. I feel like I was here like 10 minutes ago. Oh, wait, I was. Okay, here we go. Anning May, thank you for that post. All right. So those are the questions. So I made it through. I made it through the questions. Some of you may have seen the Jesse Porter player highlight. I thought it was really nice. Jesse sent us the video, and our team did some edits, and then we present it because this is how. And I want to encourage all of the verified members to send video in about their hobby, their passion, their profession. If they're send it in so that Twin Galaxies can promote it and put it on the Twin Galaxies Live. And remember, we need to help the rest of the world understand who we are, what we're doing as these sort of esports professional game players and enthusiasts. We can't do this all on our own, Twin Galaxies. We need to be able to show the people. And I know a lot of us are camera shy or introverts, you know, you're not trying to be all out there. But you got to think, man, like, there's so many, there's like 1.8 billion gamers out there, and so many of them are, you know, like, they're just, they could use some examples to look at. You know, something to, you know, oh man, look at Jesse. He's like, look at his setup. It's great. You know, he's clear. This is awesome. He's got a wall with he's planning his certificates. See, that's what I want to do. I'm doing that now. We need to put that information out into the world. We need, as a collective group, to dictate how that goes, as opposed to news media and all that other stuff who like to dictate the way that it's supposed to look and what we are, and it's all very negative. I think there's an opportunity to be more positive about this, and so, you know, please, if you are interested in having a spotlight, send us video of you, so we can, you know, all I ask is that you guys, if you're sending it, at least hold one world record, one Twin Galaxies world record. Hold one, all right? Because that'll help create more interest and more people will come and compete, and it just gets more fun. It's more fun. Let's have some fun. I'm really excited because I think the community has taken a turn away from the perpetual despair that it had been in for some years. And now it's like, okay, this might actually be something. You know, and so like the glimmer of hope starts to exist, and, you know, and it's great to watch, you know, people showing up to the board. Oh man, I haven't been here for a long time. Wow, you know, like, let's build on that. It's up to all of us to build on that. We can become an enormous army across this entire planet, you know, and we will make ourselves more and more relevant in the mainstream universe. Twin Galaxies will help to do that, but we, you know, get in there. Let's nothing. You guys, man, I look at these performances. They're amazing. You guys are doing some amazing things. Help us tell everybody. We got to put faces next to these amazing screens of video. You know? So I am, you know, Twin Galaxies is working on some big things that will be very helpful. So I can't disclose what those are yet, but I promise you that as soon as these things close, you're gonna be like, damn, wow, wow, right? It's very frustrating to not be able to tell you. I just want you to know that. It's very frustrating. But the reason I don't tell you is because if for whatever reason some of these things don't happen, I don't want to make promises that I can't keep. And I'm not doing that. So I'm not going to say anything, and I'm not going to put it out there. Everything that I tell you is stuff that I know that we can deliver on. And that's how I want it. And you know, huge thanks to everybody who's participating on the board, and it's growing, man. It's obvious. It should be obvious. We've adjudicated. I mean, look, we're now well past 1,000 accepted score. We've by far surpassed any previous version of Twin Galaxies in terms of adding quality scores to the database, and it's only going to just keep growing from there. And once we get this community ad track thing working, it's going to be out of control, right? Because now you can add tracks. Now you can spend all those submission points and bring in tracks and compete on it. And I've really been thinking, like, the first wave is just being able to add tracks and do that stuff. And you can be founders and get credit for that. But I can't remember who it was. It might have been Donna Trady. I can't remember who did it. They mentioned it, but the idea of a track that you create being an investment that can pay you in either submission points or credibility or something like that, the more people submit on it, and successfully, you know, the more, like, it's like you create this successful track because you put time and thought into the rules, and people really like it, and it's fun. And so it starts to earn you. I think that's a very interesting idea, and so we're thinking about the best way to implement that. But that's stage 2. Stage 1 is let's just get it working, make it so we can get some new tracks up there. I know there's a Robotron track burning a hole in the pockets of certain people. They were ready to spend those submission points. A Defender, probably. So that's pretty much the state of the galaxies. Am I forgetting anything at all? So many big things. There's so many big things to tell you. Oh my God. Get more people. Get your friends playing. Get them submitting. Just get more people. Telling you, do it now while you can. Oh, we just added. We're almost finished with, but I think it should work. Facebook sharing of the scores. So if you go to the here, I'll show you here. If you go to, let me whip up the website. So we're at the website, and you're going to continue to see the front page evolve and the interface evolve to get a little easier, more readable, more fun, and that sort of thing. Great. But if you go to World Rankings and you pick up a score, so let's pull up Donkey Kong, the old classic, right? Arcade Donkey Kong. All right. So you see we're changing the format a little bit where the pictures we're improving this. Okay, so we'll show the score. So here's the top 10 world player rankings of Donkey Kong. And you'll notice that there's this little blue button here just above it on this score sheet. It's a share button. So when you click it, it comes up with a link, right? So this link, when you copy it, and you go to Facebook, let's log in as me. All right. So you go to Facebook, and you see what happens when you post. When you post the link, it'll pull up the actual score, that track, and then you can kind of scroll through the images, and then you post it, and it actually shows the top 10. And so it's really cool. And so we're now you think, oh, of course, it's actually there's some complexity into diving into the database, having Facebook being able to pull images and do all there's work involved in doing this. And so we're kind of finishing it up. So it might not work totally perfectly right now, but it should in the next day or so. So now you can like share scores with people across Facebook, say, ooh, check this out. And so I already shared it down here, as you can see. And this is what it looks like. And so like what happens is when someone actually clicks the link that you posted, so inside the post it shows the top 8. I guess it depends on how long the scores are. It puts as much text in as it can, right? So you see Robbie Lakeman and Hank Chen and Mark Keel. But when you click this, it takes you straight to the Twin Galaxies database. It opens up the actual track and the score, and it shows you the top 10 right there. So you're right there. When you log in, Zag, it doesn't matter whether you log in with the Facebook or with your own account. There's no difference. What do I mean by tracks? I'll show you. If you look, I'm looking at, here, let me close this. Donkey Kong Arcade. Let me pull this up for you. For those who don't know what I mean by track. So here, I listed all the arcade machines that are Donkey Kong. There's Donkey Kong Arcade, Donkey Kong 3 Arcade, Donkey Kong Jr. Arcade. That's the machine. If I look at what Twin Galaxy is actually tracking, it tracks two sort of criteria. One is Donkey Kong points using the hammer, and then another track is Donkey Kong going for points with no hammer use. So there's different top 10s. If I click show on this track, these are the people who have competed on the no hammer challenge. And then if I click on this track, these are the people who've competed on using the hammer. I really want to add 1-1 to this because I just think 1-1 is a cool idea. But I won't need to because the community add track will let the Donkey Kong players add 1-1. I know this is off topic, but does any of your clan plan to visit Galloping Ghosts in late May to join Walter Day? Currently, there's not a plan to travel over to Galloping Ghosts. We may go there just to see Galloping Ghosts. I've never been there. But there is a reason why there's upcoming reasons that will make this question that you asked, you wouldn't ask it after you had that information. So hang in there. Hang in there. Let's see. Did I miss any other questions in the chat? I don't think so. Our engineers are keeping an eye on the forum posts in the scoreboard errors thread and trying to fix things as we go. We're slowly adding more mobile games just to keep rounding it out until the community add track function comes on. And I think those are the major high points. How soon can we add tracks? Not soon enough, Don Atreides. Not soon enough. It's the top priority. We are scrambling to get it finished. We got to make sure there's no bugs because you're dealing with submission points. You don't want points lost. I mean, you don't want to mess the economy up. Blah, 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 blah. So, yes. Who has a question that they would like to ask? Someone has a question that they would like to ask. So let's hear it. Super Geek Gamer. You don't have permission to access this page. Your user account may not suit to access this page. What page are you trying to access? Super Geek Gamer. I wonder. Secrets. Oh, you can submit for Donkey Kong, but you have to become a verified user. What's up there, Data God? What else? What else? We're working. There's so many things that we're trying to add. I swear to God. This is the worst part. Everything at Twin Galaxies now is like, it's working. And so you're getting this influx of activity. And then so we want to add and help it grow. But obviously there's only so much money to spend at any given moment to move it forward. And that's just killing me. It is killing me. This thing's not cheap. I hope you know that. This is not a cheap endeavor, but it's well worth it because gamer life, that's it. There's nothing else to say past that. Got it? When is Guinness going to scoop scores for the book? We're in the process of doing that now, but I think we have until April 7th. And they really are interested in like the new scores that have come in. So they're going to be talking about the new system and how excited they are. But, look, we have like 1,300 new, 1,300, holy crap. That's huge. And all of these scores, they're right here for you to see. That's the best part. There it is. The performance is here. Oh, let me tell you something. Please start uploading your videos into the Twin Galaxies system. We're going to get to a point very soon where if you don't do that, you're going to have to be made aware that if later, so you see what happens is if your score goes into the database on the basis of video evidence, right? And that video evidence is no longer present with your score for whatever reason in the future, it's going to put that score at risk because the video evidence that got it in there, it wasn't a referee that got it in there, it was the video evidence, the evidence package is no longer completely there. So if you uploaded it to your YouTube account and you lose your YouTube account and all this other stuff, your scores start to fall at risk. That will not happen if you upload to Twin Galaxies. And we have fixed the upload system so it can take huge files. So start doing that. Please tell everybody else on the site to start doing that. Recommend that when you see a submission that doesn't have it in the Twin Galaxies archive. Because I'm just telling you, once we have the system in place where things can be questioned, a few years down the road, someone's going to go, oh, look at this, fastest knockout. Oh, wait, the video is gone. There's no video here. Wait, this got in because the video was there. It's not like the other scores of previous Twin Galaxies where it got in because a referee saw a video and then validated it that way. This one is the video supposed to be there. So don't run that risk. Upload the video to the Twin Galaxies archive. Make sure it's in there always. If you're going to submit a video. Just saying. What about scores that went in the system, it didn't work? Can we upload video after the fact? No, unfortunately, Tim Het, you cannot. But that will always be, that factor will always be kept in mind. So there you go. I think that's it. Yes, but make sure you upload the videos. Let me look at the site to remind myself of anything else. Do you guys like the new layout of the front page with more room given to the forum posts? Also, one thing that I removed from the front page forum posts filtered out was forum posts that are taking place in the adjudication thread. Because normally you would see just nothing but the title of scores and some of that stuff on the front page. And I thought it was maybe not as informative or as needed as just the actual forum posts in the forum of forums, discussion forums. Do you want Data God, where the photo stuff, the blog stuff, all that stuff is going to come back. It's just we have to build the interface to it up in the menu bar archive up here. See how there's navigation up here where you can move around the site with just this drop-down menu. There are icons. Let me show you what's going to be coming here. I'll log in as me. So you see, the Facebook-like icons that are up here. You're going to see more icons and drop-down menus that will allow you to access other parts of this site. I'm really strongly thinking about just getting rid of these top buttons to make it even more efficient, and just because if I want to go to World Rankings, I can just click here and go to World Rankings, right? I don't need a button to do that. So it's all about making it simpler, faster, more compact, and with more functionality. But of course, up here will be the photo archive to access the blog section. Eventually, the wiki section will come online here, and whatever else. But so it'll all be inside of these the menu. So it's just faster and easier. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Keep the boxes. You think so? That's just more data for you to load, We can, also we completely disabled the email system that that knows, that tells you when things are done adjudicating and all this other stuff, because basically you were getting too many emails, so we just disabled it. And that's why you're not getting those emails anymore. We can go back and revisit whether we want to turn it on or create options for people to turn it off and on and all this other stuff, but that's more engineering work, and we're more interested in the community ad track. So hopefully that made sense. And the buttons are easier for new users. Yeah, that's true. So I was thinking when you're not logged in, the buttons would be there, but the minute you log in, everything then retreats to the toolbar at the top, right? So that is what has happened. And I really want to make it so that when you scroll down the page, it just keeps loading more and more and more as it goes. Instead of right now we have pagination, right? Get rid of the pagination and just have it continue to load, so you can just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. I think that would be awesome. And of course, it's more engineering. So there you have it. Anything else? Do you have a button to make a towel popping sound or for towel popping good times? Let me tell you something. Towel popping good times are not as good as lining up 16 animals and jumping over them in one jump for a 30 million point. That's all I'm saying. Or is it 17 animals? I can't remember. Apparently, I have 4 minutes left. Neo, can you give me my chat text back over here? Oh, yeah, sure. So I can see. Does anybody else have any questions or concerns? Any tears or tissues or anything at all? Because I have 3 minutes left before I have to get off. And that makes me sad because I hate leaving everybody. All these great game players. Is the player modeling system that will be implemented into the future take into account levels of competition on games? I need to better understand what you mean by levels of competition. Like how many people are trying in a particular category? Is that what you mean? It's like if there's only 3 people competing in some game and then there's like 1,000. Is that what you mean? If that's what you mean, the answer is yes. It will take that into account, of course. Because if you're number 1 out of 10,000 people versus number 1 out of 3, unless I'm one of the 3, being number 1 out of the 3 really won't matter. I'm just saying. Oh, look at that. Duralath has just made a statement that you guys can all just look at because it's in caps. Maybe Jace will make a Twin Galaxies Igby team. Well, I don't understand the answer to my question regarding Galloping Ghosts, but I'm going to trust that there's some logic to it if you don't have the time to discuss at this time. Yes, there is logic to it. I would like to go to Galloping Ghosts and visit to see. Seems like a really cool place. But there are some other interesting things that you will become aware of that will make your question about Twin Galaxies visiting Galloping Ghost, you would not ask, I guess, that question in the same way. Sorry, it's hard when I can't give you all the information, so I'll just be quiet and just say, I'll answer it soon. Who will win the NCAA tournament? Well, I will. Okay, moving on. It looks like I have 1 minute and 30 seconds. That's it. There's people ringing the doorbell. There's all these fighting community members here ready to just take over the whole area. It's the boys, yes. We have so many cool things. Man, I want to tell you guys. My God, I'm so sorry I can't. We're getting closer to where I can give you more information. But keep participating. Get your friends involved. The more the merrier here. We're going to make this, continue to make this the greatest scoreboard of all time, the greatest player rankings, period, for video games in the world. Am I right? Am I right? Thank you guys for watching my little broadcast, my little State of the Galaxies. And you know what? I still correspond with Walter. He's doing great. He's doing his thing. And in 27 seconds, I'm going to get kicked off by all these professional fighting game. As long as they don't play, there's like a really slow version of Street Fighter. What's the name of it? What's the slowest version of Street Fighter? No, I think Duralaf knows what it is.
It's definitely not Third Strike.
Oh, Third Strike. Third Strike is the slowest Street Fighter game that there is, and I hope they don't play it.